Disney hikes prices on streaming plans for second time this year. Yahoo Finance. Disney's previously announced price increases for some of its streaming services took effect Thursday. Why? The company continues to grapple with direct-to-consumer profitability challenges and falling subscriber numbers. Below are your comments. Interesting they are doing this now as Disney Plus can't have much new content due to recent writers and ongoing actors' strike. As consumers continue to experience higher costs in everyday goods like groceries and fuel, I think Disney Plus will see accelerating subscriber declines. I think Disney is demonstrating the well-understood idea that when you increase prices without an increase in quality, benefits to make up for lost customers, you lose more customers, which then leads to more losses and the need to raise prices again. It is a never-ending cycle that leads only to bad. Disney is just like Netflix and most others now. Don't continuously subscribe. Wait for a series to drop completely, subscribe for a month, or create another email account and a free trial, binge the show, cancel sub and wait for next series or movie to drop. Rinse. Cut the cable. You will be surprised how much richer your life will be without trash like Disney and Hulu. Read Bo Oaks from the library for nothing. Buy an indoor antenna and get free TV plus all the local networks if you want to watch local program. Get off social media and your phones that they must pay the high cost of Iger. Woke Disney needs to be boycotted. They increase rates when they lose membership. Next news. Inflation. Consumer prices rose 3.7% over last year in September, matching August's increase. Yahoo Finance. September's CPI report is one of the most important data points the Federal Reserve will consider in its next interest rate decision. Below are your comments. Whoever expects inflation to go down easily or fast, clearly has not studied economics nor was alive in the 1970s or 1980s. Fasten your seatbelts, the journey is going to be long and painful. The slant and portrayal of this is humorous. Inflation is still firmly a problem and hasn't gotten one bit better. To say it moderated has the inference that inflation is under control. It's not under control. In a normal market this was a CPI miss, which would send the markets down, especially after a bull run up into this CPI miss. But we don't have normal markets anymore. They're highly manipulated by a handful of players, and those players, for whatever the reason, want the market to be a bull. Always suspicious of government metrics under this administration. Forget the YAYHOO spin. Why would the CPI be expected to be less? The PPI has increased for the last 3 consecutive months and it's reasonable to expect CPI results to increase. It is very tricky to understand the inflation data. Inflation slowed to 3.7% compared to last year, when the inflation was over 8%. 3.7% plus 8% equals 11.7%. Next news. Ask an advisor. I'm 55 with a $3 million net worth and $5,000 in monthly expenses. Can I retire now? Smart Asset. I'm 55 and would like to retire now with a $3 million total net worth. I'm assuming my net worth will grow, on average, 5% until I'm eligible for Social Security. My house is paid off and my lifestyle is simple. I can live with $5,000 per month. Am I making the right decisions? The Post. Ask an advisor. I'm 55 with a $3 million net worth and $5,000 in monthly expenses. Can I retire now? Appeared first on Smart Reads by Smart Asset. Below are your comments. When I looked at how much we had for retirement purposes, I never took the house, cars, and other non-liquid assets into account, preferring to stay only with taxable and non-taxable investing and savings accounts. I still follow that today, ensuring our yearly needs are only about 2% or less of T. My first reaction was, of course you could, if it made zero interest, that is 50 years of payments. But the author is correct that if the majority is in non-liquid assets, maybe not. For example, a home that appreciated dramatically and represents half or more of that $3 million. Or someone in Hera. No, you should work for several more years. You need at least 20 million to retire, unless you want to live on cat food for the rest of your life. Financial advisory is on the way out. Next news. 4 types of non-passive income that could make you serious cash. Smart Asset. Non-passive income, also known as active or earned income, refers to the money that you earn through your active efforts, typically by trading your time and expertise for compensation. This is the inverse of passive income, which is earned with minimal effort or active involvement. However you earn your income, a financial advisor can help. The Post. What is non-passive income? Appeared first on Smart Reads by Smart Asset. Below are your comments. Regardless of how the IRS views it, if you are not actively involved in the management of a company, but retain a passive investment in said company, then any dividends earned are therefore passive income. Conversely, when you purchase one or more rental properties and actively manage the property. So when did dividends and pensions go from passive to non-passive? Passive income. Talk about nonsense. That term became popular to convince dupes that they could buy a rental home, sit back and the money would just pour in every month. Anyone who has owned rental property, especially residential, knows there is always something needing to be done, and if why. In other words, get a job. Next news. Load up, says Citigroup, about these 2 strong buy stocks. Tip ranks. As the final quarter of 2023 gets fully underway, analysts and investors alike are trying to divine just what is likely to happen in the next few months. There's a growing feeling that, with September behind us, stock investors can look forward to better times, perhaps sooner rather than later. In some recent comments to CNBC, Scott Cronert, Citi U.S. equity strategist, gives several reasons why investors should load up on stocks now. First, Cronert points out that fears of a hard recession Below are your comments. CHRS is one of my biggest holdings. An absolutely stellar stock, IMHO. A lot of catalysts and a great price. Even though it is down by about 70% from its 52-week high, it still looks overpriced to me. He can have my share. Keep your powder dry, Black Swan event coming. Rubbish. Just check the track record of the analysts. Pump and dump. Next news. UAW says GM and Ford CEOs make too much money. It has a point. Barron's.com. GM, Ford, and Stellantis CEOs made a lot more money in 2022 than the chiefs of their foreign rivals. Below are your comments. A line worker's marginal product of labor is simply not very high and therefore, the wage is economy. Cali lower all things equal. It's really as simple as that. But, sure, go ahead and divorce your mind from reality and argue they should get a 40% raise. Just rest assured that the wage won't last nuts. The CEOs of the bottom 4 companies, who all make the very best cars, together earn less than the top-paid CEO from a company which probably makes the worst cars. Minimum wage, livable wage needs to be $40,000 a year to afford a small 2-bedroom apartment anywhere in the U.S. That's $20 an hour, 40 hours a week. Fain makes more than NASA astronauts, and that is insane. Next news. Stock opened flat as CPI inflation holds steady. Stock market news today. Yahoo Finance. The Consumer Price Index report could help tilt the Fed in one direction in November. Below are your comments. Inflation is not steady nor calming. The consumers, all of us, know the truth. We see it every week, as our ability to buy our normal household goods with the same amount of cash no longer works. So the market doesn't care about inflation, wars, $33 trillion in debt, and no government leadership. The future looks good and the market keeps spiraling and will get to new highs. And this is good news? On a core basis, which strips out the more volatile costs of food and gas, prices in September climb at 4.1% over last year. A slowdown from the 4.3% annual increase seen in August. The US dollar has lost over 20% of its buying power since 2019. Next news. Here's how much Social Security benefits will rise in 2024. Barron's.com. The government on Thursday announced how much checks will rise next year for the roughly 67 million Social Security recipients. Below are your comments. This is not even close to what we should be getting. But the old saying is just be glad we are getting something. Another rough year ahead. Core CPI is up 4.1% from a year ago. Last month it was 4.3% up from a year ago. The stuff retirees actually buy is up much more. I call next year's increase a cut in benefits. Inflation was 3.7% in September with core inflation at 4.1%. This is another 0.5% cut for seniors' Social Security. COLA is a calculation scheme that will put every senior into poverty if they live long enough. The worst retirement plan on the planet. After investing 12.4% over a lifetime, most never. Please subscribe to my channel. And if you like it, please thumbs up.